Welcome to Orlando Experience. Tonight we're at Halloween Horror Nights and we're just here to rank the houses. Thought I would give you my opinions. I've kind of waited a little bit this year to give those opinions because I wanted to kind of go through multiple houses. So we're gonna go in, I'm gonna show you my rankings, where I rank each houses, what I like and don't like about them. Same with the scare zones. So we're gonna head in and come experience this night with us. So tonight I just figured we'd kind of walk around and talk. We're just going to be doing houses and then kind of in between we'll just start talking about houses. So I figured we'd start from scare zone point of view. Obviously that first one, bottom of the list. I don't think that's really a big surprise there. But we're heading through Demon Queens. That I think is number 2 on my list right now because I really like the amount of actors that's usually in this zone during the night. And I really do like when Surreal is over here in the middle. When she is. I've only seen her like twice in all the nights I've been here. But I still really like the theme of this zone and how many actors are in it. So at number 3 on my scare zone list, since we're about to walk through it again, is Swamp of the Undead. I think it's a little bit better for, it's like kind of middle of the road for me. I think it's got really good set decoration and it feels the most packed with sets. And I always like the one here because it's well themed because it feels like you're in like a park kind of area. So there's a lot of trees and foliage. I think it's really well themed, but I just think the general feel of the zone is kind of basic, like just zombies in a swamp. I mean, it's not as unique or as intriguing as a lot of the other zones for me. Now we're gonna switch off the scare zones. We'll come back to them in a little bit later in the night. We're gonna start talking about houses. So we're heading to Deadly right now. It is pretty low on my list. There's a few reasons because of that. I think it a lot of times feels empty. I feel like I've had a lot of empty run-throughs of this house. And my biggest thing is I think they could have done so much more with it. I think it really hurt. I think the theme could have been so cool with some big exhibit areas, but it just doesn't feel as much like a museum as I kind of wish it did. I know it's kind of the theme of it being overgrown, but I think they could have done more. Another one back here that's pretty high on my list is actually Slaughter Cinema. I really like Slaughter Cinema this year. I think it's my favorite original. I obviously have a bit of memories with Slaughter. It was my first ever Horror Nights house, so that's a big part. But I like the anthology feel to a lot of the houses. I've continuously liked it all throughout my time going to Horror Nights when it kind of has an anthology feel. But that's it for now. We're gonna quickly go into museum, hit that up, and then we'll see what else we can do before it gets too busy. It's only $35 for Slaughter, so not too bad, but we'll meet you inside of the line here to talk a little bit more. So we're heading back to Slaughter because $35 isn't too bad and I really like Slaughter. But I think we'll just jump up to the top of my list, so I'm keeping you guys from waiting. I think the top of my list, at least now, it might change by the end of the HHN season because it changes a lot throughout this season for me, just depending on walkthroughs and kind of how good the scares get me. but Quiet Place right now is very, very high for me, and I think it is my number one. So it definitely could fall at some point, but I think right now it is up there as number one. So sorry, it's a little dark back here, but we just got out of Slaughter. It was a lot longer than 35 minutes, as you can see. So it's actually probably going to be our last house for the night, but still got a lot of talking ahead of us. Walking past Goblins and Monsters right now. Goblins and Monsters are pretty close on my list together. Monsters at 6, Goblins at 7. I like Monsters this year still more than I think a lot of people do, but I definitely see what people are talking about this year. I like the little more cohesive storytelling where it feels like a little more straightforward story. But if you don't like that, then I could see you not liking this house as much. I do think the sets this year are a lot smaller. Goblins, unfortunately, was not as exciting as I wanted it to be. It really was, at first, one of the houses I was most excited for because I love fantasy and stuff. I still think it's better than some of the other houses we're going to talk about tonight. I think, though, they could have gone a little goofier and a little sillier. I would have preferred almost like D&D kind of style Goblins, where they're a little sillier and a little dumber than these ones. Not saying there wasn't some dumber ones, but they were kind of playing them up more as like a smart group, and I think it would have been way funnier if they were kind of stupid, almost like grunts from like Halo or something. I think that would have been significantly funnier. But again, I don't hate either of those ones back there. I just think Monsters has been better, and I think they could have done more with Goblins, especially compared to their last Fantasy House, Dragons, last year, but just such a great theme and sets overall. So we are coming up on Blumhouse. That is our second to last scare zone. This is at number 4 for me. I just always think this scare zone over here really falls flat for me. I think it just overall, it just struggles with the space that it's given and not being able to crowd the walkways because it's such a high congestion point. But it's not bad. I think it's better than last year. I think last year was horrible. So it's definitely better than that, but still just not my favorite. So pretty low there. So now we're walking past Major Suites, so back to the houses. I really like Major Suites. It's really high for me. It's not quite super high because after a few run-throughs, I just feel like I like the story. I really like the scare buttons. I think that's so fun. And I really hope they add more of those. I don't think it needs to be in every house, but I definitely think one house a year having a couple of scare buttons is a huge plus for me. So that's one of the reasons I like it. But I like the overall theme. I really liked the scare zone a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I don't really remember when it was, but I really liked it. So I really like the overall theme to that house, and I think it's a very, very fun time. So now we're heading into Torture Fair over here, and this is my number 1. I don't think this is a shock, because I think this is the best scare zone this year, and a lot of people I think agree. And I also think this is almost always a fan favorite scare zone, if not like the number 1 almost every year, just because it's so wide and it always has, I think, the most actors and the most props. It's always such a good time here in New York in the scare zone, almost no matter what the theme is. So this is my number 1. So that rounds off our scare zone list. We're gonna keep going beyond Torture Fair to continue to talk about houses. So we're heading towards the front, so I'm gonna start rapid firing a little bit. Still gonna take a few more pictures tonight, but we are kind of heading out. So right at the bottom of my list, and I don't know if this will be a surprise or not. I've heard some mixed feelings about it. Some people have really loved this house and some people really have not. And I'm definitely on the latter. It's triplets. I just think it's boring. I just don't think the scares are that interesting. I think the concept is just boring. It's just killers. I mean, it's just not what I really want out of Horror Nights anymore. I want something a little more unique, a little more flavorful, you know. I really love Ghostbusters. That's right towards the top. Because the sets this year, it's like the big set house. There's a lot of really cool ones. Right as you walk into the firehouse, that's super, super cool. And I love the giant ecto one. I actually watched that movie the night before we came to Horror Nights for the first night because I hadn't watched it yet, so I wanted to watch it. And then Insidious, I really, really like too. It's not really a big set house, even though I do think the sets in there are very unnerving. It's not huge sets or anything other than the house at the beginning. But I think overall it's a really great house, and it's probably the scariest Horror Nights house I've ever been in. I don't know if that's collectively agreed, but it's definitely up there. That's probably the scariest one I've been through personally. I haven't been coming for as long as others, so I have missed some houses that people have called very, very scary. But that one particularly, I think because of the sets and a lot of other factors in that and a lot of consistent jump scares, makes it really, really scary. And then last on our list is Monstros here at the front, is number 8 for me. So obviously it's a little lower. I don't think it's in that bad category because I don't think it's bad. I still think there's some really fun scenes in there, but there's just some areas that really fall flat for me theming. I've heard the Hollywood version was better, and I wish we got closer to it. But I really like the animatronic. The giant one is so cool, and the scene in there smells horrible, and that's great. There's some great scenes and some great jump scares, and I think it's fairly scary, in my opinion. But there's some scenes that I just think I needed some scare actors in certain areas, and there's some empty areas, and just some not as well themed areas. And then what really hurts it, actually, at least for me, is that they put the storyteller as an animatronic at the end instead of a real person. Throughout the entire house, it's a real person. And then at the end, it's just some like B-mode animatronic moving their arm. I don't know if that happened just for staffing or they just decided they didn't want a person up there, and that's why it was kind of last second. I really, really don't like that. That's an ending to a house that shouldn't be there. I think they should have just had a real person up there playing that actor. So that's our list. I'm gonna post it over on our website, I think too. Go over there. I talk a little bit more about Halloween Horror Nights this year. I am gonna make a full like video this year, sit down, talk about what I liked, what I didn't like, and there's a lot I didn't like, unfortunately, about this year, but I still love this event. So I still suggest coming this year if you haven't. It's super, super fun. But we're gonna head back up to the front just to wrap up real quick. So I noticed when we were walking out, they actually still have Surreal and Sinister up here. It is already 8:30. I don't know if they heard complaints and they decided to keep them out more. This does mean they're not actually in their scare zones yet. I never saw them there. So they're still up here at the front, but I actually prefer that because this is one of the times that the most amount of people come into Horror Nights. So missing kind of Surreal and Sinister up there, again, kind of doesn't welcome you in as good as like last year where they had Oddfellow always at the front over here. So I definitely like that change. I just like that they're keeping them out here more. I know that's not an easy role to do, so I appreciate the scare actors doing that because it's a constant speaking role and there's not a lot of actors that have to do that. But I really, really like that they're still out here at this time. So that's it from us. I would love to hear what you think about my list. I know I really like Horror Nights in the fact that I feel like almost everybody has a different favorite house. I mean, there's a lot of people obviously that have the same favorite house, but almost everyone's list differs just a little bit, just because I think it's a lot about experience, what you like in horror, if you like gore, if you like a lot of violence, or if you like more jump scares, or if you like more atmospheric areas. There's really something, I think, for everyone. And I think that's one of the great things about Horror Nights and why it leads the industry. It's just because it does so well on catering to a bunch of different likes and loves of horror. And I think that's the reason it kind of varies on whose favorite houses are where. I hate to be that guy also, to plug all my crap, but I appreciate you watching up to this point. Go watch some of our other Horror Nights videos. I've walked through full scare zones, given full detailed reviews on the houses. And then over on our website, I've been writing blogs. I spend a lot of time writing. And I'm just about to upload the second part of the first part of vlog. It should be up maybe soonish then. But again, I really appreciate you watching up to this part. It really means a lot to me. I still want to do a lot here at Horror Nights, so expect more videos from us. I really want to do a photography night. I was taking pictures tonight for blogs and just personal, because I like taking pictures. But I bought a mount for this camera that you're watching on. I would love to take you guys just through a photography night, spend some time during the night and day, taking pictures all around, getting people's reactions, because it's really a great time to take pictures here. I think it's such a photogenic event. So if you want to watch that, really let me know, because I love doing those kinds of videos. We did one kind of like that. I didn't have my mount yet, so it's not as grand, but over at Epcot in an after hours. So really let me know what you guys want. Thank you for watching. I hope this brought a little more joy into your day, and we'll see you guys next time.